Hello! Today we're going to make my version of a Cobb salad. Anything worth making is worth making to your liking, and there are many elements about a Cobb salad that I love, but I don't usually care for all of them together, so I make my own version of a Cobb salad. Now, in order to get this prepped and ready to go, I start with the thing that takes the longest, and that's the bacon. The bacon is on a sheet pan with a rack, and it's going to go into a cold oven. And we do that so that the bacon will cook nicely. Putting it into a hot oven is like one of the worst things you can do. I shouldn't say worst things, but it is not recommended because you want the oven cold so that when you put your bacon in, it will slowly come to temperature. Oh, look at that bacon. And in doing so, it will cook evenly. Having it on this rack allows all of the fats to drain off, and that way I'll have a nice even cook. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in, and we're going to cook this for about 20 minutes. Depends on how thick your bacon is. I happen to have thick bacon today, so this will take me about 20 minutes. In the meantime, I'm going to get the rest of the ingredients together. Okay, so our next step in getting ready for our Cobb salad is to get some hard-boiled eggs going. So I have these eggs. I'm going to do 3 apiece. I know it sounds like a lot, but that's the only major protein on the plate. I'm going to cover that with cold water so that the eggs are covered. Once they're covered, I'm going to turn the heat on and let them come up to a boil. Once they are up to a boil, I'm going to let them boil for 10 minutes. And then I'm going to turn off the heat. We're going to shock them in cold water, and then we're going to peel them. So by doing this, I've got my eggs going, and in the meantime, I can continue prepping other items. So for my Cobb salad, I like to have a lot of add-ins, as it were. We add mushrooms, fresh mushrooms, just sliced, chopped up tomatoes, avocado. We're going to slice up some avocado once we free it from its skin and the pit. And you saw the bacon's already being cooked. You saw the eggs are already being cooked. And I also add corn. But I go and buy super sweet corn, frozen, so I can do this any time of the year. I let it thaw out. I add about a tablespoon of butter to a whole cup of corn with a little bit of salt, and let that butter melt in. And that way the corn is seasoned all on its own, so it adds an extra layer of excitement because who doesn't love corn? So in order to get ready for the whole plating, I'm going to go ahead. I've got my corn. There's nothing left to do here. The corn is ready to go. I'm going to use my avocados last, simply because I don't want them to brown. I'm going to cut my lettuce last for the same reason. I don't want my knife cuts to cause any browning. Second to last here, I shouldn't say second to last, but after we do the tomatoes, we're going to slice up these mushrooms. So I'm going to start with the mushrooms, with the tomatoes. So I have another bowl here to put my tomatoes once I've chopped them up. The key for me when I make any kind of salad is that in each forkful, I can have a little bit of everything. I am a big proponent of the perfect bite, that every bite tastes great. So we're going to take the core out of these tomatoes. You see, I'm just turning my knife, and my knife is angled in, and that comes right out. That'll go into the compost. So I'm going to do that for each of my tomatoes. And because these are really ripe, and quite honestly, my knife does need to be sharpened a bit, I'm going to cut each tomato in half. And instead of showing you how beautifully sharp my knife is, because it's not, normally I would cut straight down and then turn and cut straight down. But because my knife really isn't sharp enough for these guys, I'm going to cut it from here. Same concept, but it can actually cut through the tomato better simply because of the skin not getting crushed, like you'll see some of it happening there at the end because these are really ripe tomatoes. And put that right into my bowl. And I'm going to do that for every one of my tomatoes. I like to have a lot of tomatoes in here. They go really, really well with the corn. They make a nice pairing with the corn, the sweet flavor of each, because these are really, really ripe and ready tomatoes. And they add to the lettuce itself. They taste great against them. So you have the crunchy of the lettuce, you have the sweet and softness of the tomato. So I'm going to go ahead and get the rest of these cut up, and we'll come back. All right, so we are going to cut our lettuce. This is a head of romaine lettuce. It's actually the heart. So you see this piece here? I'm not too fond of it. I'm going to take it out. We've rinsed the lettuce itself, so it's ready to go. In order to cut a whole head like this, the easiest way I find is to go down. I'm going all the way down to my cutting board, and you notice I went through one of the ribs here. You don't have to always go through a rib. I just happen to find them, and that's my second cut. And I'm going to make a third cut. So now when I turn the lettuce off to its side and I bring it all together like this, and I cut into pieces that my fork can actually grab onto, okay, so I'm not shredding it. I want the pieces, like this is too big, okay. I also don't like that it has a little bit of brown on there. So I'm just going to move my lettuce up, cut through, and you'll see in no time my entire head is cut. So I don't like the bitterness of the core here, and I know there's a little bit in here, so I'm going to take that out if you like that. And I have family members who actually do like that. I save that for them and I put that in their salad. So I'm going to cut a second head, one for each serving, and it's all going to come into this bowl. And once I have the second head cut and all of the other ingredients are ready and we're ready to eat, we're going to get ready to put everything together. Okay, our eggs are done. They've been cooking for 10 minutes. We're going to turn off the heat. I'm going to use my spider to get them out and into an ice bath, which stops the cooking. And then we're going to go ahead and peel them so that they're ready. I'm going to leave them in the ice bath for right now for a couple moments so that they can cool off to the touch, and I'll be able to peel them and we'll be able to put our salad together. Now let's get our avocados ready and then we can go ahead and plate up. So round things are always something you need to be careful of when you're cutting. We're going to start on one side and turn the avocado until we meet our cut in the front. Do you see that I met my front cut? So now I'm just going to twist one hand forward, one hand back. And to get the pit out, you have to be careful. This is really slippery. I'm going to use my knife. Wow, that's really in there. And it's not working the way I need it to. Wow, so that's not working. Normally you can just, but this avocado is not as ripe as it could be. So I'm going to use a spoon. You always have to be able to adjust. And I'm just going around the side of the avocado pit. And I will slowly work my way underneath the pit to get it out. You don't want to get too much flesh out with it. So that little bugger is gonna go into the garbage, as I have no use for him. So one of the things that I do, you can make this fancy, you can not make it fancy, it's really up to you. I like to have slices in my salad. This is, while it's thick, it's thin when it comes to a knife. So be careful if you're going to follow what I'm doing here. I'm actually cutting until I can feel the skin in the back. Sometimes if your knife is really sharp, it might go through a little bit. So you want to be careful. And I'm just going all the way down. And then to get this out, again, I'm going to use my spoon to go all the way around on the outside. This is where holding it in my hand will help because it gives it a little more structure and stability. It's always a little bit difficult there at the top because that's where it's attaches itself to the tree. But you can see I have all my slices ready to go. So I'm going to put this off to the side. I'm going to do that to the other half. I'm not going to waste any of this. And then we're going to be ready to put our salad together. All right, so we have cut up our lettuce. We have it in our bowl. We have a pair of tongs. And the reason I have it set up this way is because I actually toss my salad with the dressing before I put it into the bowl. But the reality is, if you're not ready to eat, you want to wait until you're ready to actually eat. Otherwise, your lettuce is going to get limp from the dressing. Now, a classic Cobb was topped with Roquefort cheese and had a red wine vinaigrette dressing. This is your salad. Put whatever you like in it. I'm actually using a store-bought blue cheese dressing that I like because I have it on hand. I enjoy the flavor, and it's going to make the salad the way that I like it. So I'm using my tongs to just turn the dressing that's in there, turn it around until they're nicely coated. You can put as much or as little as you like, but you'll see when I'm plating why I choose to do it this way versus just pouring dressing on top. This actually looks like more than enough for these salads. But you see already the volume of the salad, the lettuce has gone down because it's weighed down now by the actual dressing itself. All right, so that is ready for us to begin our plating. And because we have everything already prepped, this is the part that goes really, really fast, but it's also the part where you can customize this depending on who you're cooking for. So let's get our bowl ready. We're going to start with our bowl, and we're going to add our ingredients in stages. So I'm going to add some lettuce to the bottom of the plate. And because I want to be able to have a bite of everything for the most part, I'm going to put a little bit of each item in here at the bottom, including bacon, but not the eggs. I leave the eggs for the top. That's just me. The eggs and the avocado go on top. But right there, you have a perfect side salad if you want to just do this as a side salad. This is actually a main item for what I'm serving tonight. So I'm going to put more salad. Okay, this is dressed with the dressing already, so I don't have to put more. And now I'm going to, I'll just put just a little bit more. Now I'm going to look at how I can make this appealing simply just by looking at it. And that's one of the things I really love about Cobb salad. You can be creative in how you set everything up. Remember our corn? It's got a little bit of salt and a little bit of butter. So I like to kind of put that in its own little section here. We've got mushrooms. This family member loves a lot of mushrooms, so we're actually going to give them all of the mushrooms because they really like that. So there's the mushrooms. We're going to add our tomatoes. Right here. So you see already we've got a beautiful amount of color, and we eat with our eyes first. So when you look at your plate, it should look delicious. It should look appetizing right from the start. Now we've got our avocado. Remember, we sliced our avocado earlier and we loosened it out of the skin here. So all I have to do is pick it up and pretty much lay it down, and it looks beautiful. We like that. All right, I'm going to put in my bacon. And yes, I know that looks like a lot of bacon, but considering how much lettuce is in there, I have no problem with that. And then the last thing I'm going to add are my eggs. I like to keep the eggs just in half for this. You can see they're perfectly hard boiled. There's no green in them. If they've turned green, the yolks have turned green, you've kind of overcooked them. These were 10 minutes after the boil started. So there you have it. A perfect Cobb salad. But Cobb salad the way I like it. You make it your own. I want you to try it. It's something that you'll really enjoy having as a main item meal. This is very filling. And I think you'll find that that's delicious.